Welcome to Podnutz Daily for December 29th, 2008, episode number 128. It's a very computer-relevant number, 128. Let's see now. Acronis. I used Acronis the other day for cloning. Actually, today. I used Acronis today for cloning a disk. This is what I want to talk about. Acronis is great because I didn't know you could boot from the CD and actually run the full version of Acronis, but you can. And that's what I did today. I had a gateway laptop. I put a new hard drive in. I took the old hard drive out, and I wanted to clone the old hard drive onto the new hard drive. But I just wanted to clone the recovery partition. I didn't want to clone the entire thing because I didn't want to wait. The recovery partition is like 10 gigs. Going through USB 2.0, it's going to go pretty fast, maybe 5 minutes or so. So I threw the Acronis disk in, booted that up from the disk, chose clone disk, and just chose the recovery partition to clone. And I was able to clone the recovery partition. Now, the question I had when I was doing this, I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not, is, am I going to be able to boot now from the recovery partition? So what I actually did was I cloned that. It didn't work. You couldn't boot from it. It acted like there was no bootable device, basically. So what you can do is, in Acronis, under... You know what? Let me take a couple steps back a little bit. This is how I originally did it. Did I use the Acronis boot CD? Oh, let me see. What did I do? No, I didn't use Acronis boot CD for this one, actually. On my workshop computer, I have Acronis True Image 11 loaded. So I started Acronis True Image 11. I hooked up through USB a hard drive that I wanted to clone the recovery partition from. I created what's called a backup file. I think it's called TIB, which is the Acronis backup file. I created a backup file of the partition, the recovery partition, onto my hard drive on my workshop computer. Then I removed the old hard drive, and I took the new hard drive, which is the destination drive I wanted to do, and I recovered that file, which I backed up to my computer, to the new disk. Now, when you do that, it asks you in Acronis, it says, do you want to recover the partition or the master boot record? Or the MBR, the master boot record, or the boot sector. It's either boot sector or master boot record. It's one of the options. And you can't choose both the partition and the boot sector, so you have to just choose one. So I chose the partition, put that on the destination drive, tried to boot to the destination drive, couldn't boot from that drive. So then I copied over the boot sector, the boot record. Then I was able to boot from that drive. Now the problem was, it wasn't a problem at first. It turned into a problem, but here's what happened. I was able to boot from the drive now, the destination drive, and I ran the recovery partition. It created a new partition on the drive, and it installed Windows on the rest of the drive, just like a normal system recovery would work. So I ran the gateway recovery, program on this destination drive. It ran, and then the system went to reboot. Now, after it rebooted, it kept rebooting into the recovery partition. So how I had to fix that was I took a Vista CD. Well, first I put the destination drive that I copied this file to. I put it into the gateway laptop. So the hard drive's in a laptop. Then I put a Vista Home Premium disk in the CD drive, booted from the disk, chose repair my computer. And then from the disk, you're able to repair the startup of your hard drive from that disk. This is confusing, guys. Plus, you can tell I've had a couple days off. I'm confusing myself here. Anyway, so running the startup repair from the Vista CD, I was able to fix the boot record. So now it doesn't boot into the recovery partition anymore. It defaults to boot into the Windows installation. I hope that made sense. That's all I'm going to talk about that right now. Another computer came in. This is a computer I built maybe 6-7 months ago. I kept the customer's case, but I installed a motherboard, power supply, hard drive, I think RAMs, processor, everything else, and CD drive. Basically gutted the thing, but kept his case. I used a cheap power supply from CoolPower. The brand is CoolPower. Not Cooler Master, CoolPower. Got it at Micro Center for like $15-20. It was supposed to be a 500-watt power supply. The thing was totally fried. It just got smoked. It had a terrible smell of burning when it came in, and the power supply was fried. This is not the first time I've had a problem with CoolPower power supplies. I think they suck. I'm never going to use them again. What I do use instead, and I've been buying them from Micro Center, and I haven't had a problem yet, is the Xion power supply. Xion, Xion 450-watt power supply, $25 at Micro Center. We replaced it with one of those. Everything's fine. Definitely a good deal. For $25, can't beat it. Also had another customer come in. He had a desktop. We worked on his computer about 2 weeks ago. He didn't want the Norton antivirus and anti-spyware, which we are selling from the shop now. He uses McAfee, which he got free from Comcast. And his kids opened an email attachment and got antivirus 2009 or anti-spyware 2009 infected on his machine. All I did was on this machine, I ran Malwarebytes, made sure I got the updates on Malwarebytes, then ran Malwarebytes, got rid of it right there. That was pretty much the whole cleanup on the whole machine. Malwarebytes, great program. I also recommend that he does get the Norton. I'm not a big fan of the McAfee because though Norton wised up and made their program a lot slimmer and faster, McAfee is still a hog. So until McAfee does what Norton's doing, where they're really slimming down their antivirus, I'm not going to recommend McAfee. Plus, we're having great success selling Norton. People are happy with it. It's a name they recognize. It's helping our profits, and I feel comfortable recommending it because I always trusted the name Norton, but I didn't like what Norton was doing to people's machines, slowing them down and whatnot. I've talked about this before. Anyway, so that's that. And this was Malwarebytes, which is a free program. It got rid of that anti-spyware or that anti-spyware 2009 anti-spyware 2009. I'm getting confused with all these programs. Okay, here's another tip. I did a power adapter repair today. When I do a power adapter repair, pretty much the standard thing I do is I clip off the end. I clip off the tip, which is usually the bad part on these power adapters. It's the tip. When I clip off that tip, well, first, obviously, I test it to see if it's getting voltage. No voltage, I clip off the tip, and then I test the bare wires with no tip attached to it. And usually I get voltage to the bare wires. So the problem usually occurs somewhere in the tip. Now I'm left, though, with a power adapter with just two bare wires, no tip on the end, and I usually get them at Radio Shack. They're called Adaptaplugs. I buy an Adaptaplug, usually it's size N, usually, and then a little adapter with two wires that comes out of it that you plug the Adaptaplug into, and then the wires attached to the power adapter that you're trying to